lot from his students, as any teacher should. And Baruch Hashem, I imagine most of you, many of you, are students of his. So whatever wisdom the Rabbi is sharing with us tonight, I'm just attributing part of it to you guys already, those who have learned with the Rabbi before. And I think we're in for a real treat. One of the themes that we've been working on at Yiboneh, we have some sponsors who are interested in us providing avenues for all of us to just become better people. And who else could we think of to speak other than Rabbi David Aaron? Please come on. Did you want to sit or stand?
No, I'm going to sit.
Okay.
If you won't see me, I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand.
Whoa, that's intense. All right. Seeing all these friendly faces. So I see you're inviting speakers to talk about being a better person. So you wanted to bring someone that needs to work on being a better person. So I can personally share how I'm failing at that. But I'm going to try my best. Okay. I want to share with you an idea. And it's an idea I've shared before. So I don't know if you've ever heard this, but if you have, I've added a lot more to it. So listen very carefully if you've heard this before. But what I want to talk about is, I think the most important thing I could talk about, if I had something to say to every single human being in the world, if I had one class that I would pick, this would be it. That I think every single human being could really benefit from. And so this is really the most important thing. So we're talking about living on purpose. And I want to deal with what is my purpose? How do I get in touch with my purpose? How do I feel empowered by my purpose? So I want to talk about purpose. And in order to talk about purpose, we got to talk about you. Who are you? Why are you? Okay? Who are you? So a number of years ago, I had a student over for Friday night dinner, and she was talking about her family. She had mentioned in passing that her mother was in Japan. So I asked her, what is your mother doing in Japan? And she said, well, my mother's looking for herself. Okay, it's okay. You could be in Japan looking for yourself. But my daughter, who at the time was like 7 years old, my kids are very Israeli, and they understand English not incredibly well, but when they hear English, they translate it into Hebrew in their head. So my daughter was following the conversation, but then the girl said her mother's in Japan looking for herself. And my daughter didn't know how to translate that. So she turned to me and she said, Abba, Mahi Amra? Daddy, what did she say? So I said, well, Ima Shala, her mother, he be Japan, she's in Japan, vihi mechapeset et atzma. And she is looking for herself. At that moment, my daughter went like this, whoa. And I got inside her head, and I realized how frightening that is. She lost herself in Japan. How do you do that? How do you lose yourself? Like she was in a hotel. She checks out of the hotel. Myself, wait a second, I could have sworn I had myself with me. Well, actually the last time I saw myself was in the mirror of the bathroom. I mean, maybe I'm still there. Goes back to reception, excuse me, I think I left myself in the room. Oh, we're sorry, ma'am, we've cleaned out that room. Oh, but I think myself must be there. Well, we do have a lost and found, but it's closed till tomorrow morning. But how do you lose yourself? How do you find yourself? What is the self? Okay? And we talk this way all the time. We talk about liking ourselves. Who's the you that likes you? Sadly, there seems to be a lot more people that don't like themselves. Who's the you that doesn't like you? There are people hurting themselves. Who's the you that's hurting you? I was on the Upper West Side, Manhattan. Anybody here from Manhattan? Okay, good. Well, we're very happy that you're no longer there and that you're here. All right, so I was in the Upper West Side. I was in a supermarket, and a fellow walks in, and he starts screaming, I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill myself. And I didn't know what to do. I'm not from Manhattan, from a small town called Toronto, and I never really witnessed this scene of a guy screaming. The guy must have been high or drunk or something like that. They called the police. Policeman comes in, guy screaming, I'm gonna kill myself, I'm gonna kill myself. So the policeman engages him in discussion and says, now, why are you going to kill yourself? Now this, he didn't expect that. So he said, he thought, he said, well, because my mama hates me and my papa hates me and quite frankly, I hate me. So I'm gonna kill myself. So the policeman says, but what do you hope to accomplish if you kill yourself? And the guy says, well, because when I kill myself, I'm gonna be happy, yeah. I'm gonna be real happy when I kill myself. So the policeman says, but listen to what you're saying. If you kill yourself, you're gonna be dead. And the guy said, huh? I said, yeah, and if you're dead, how will you know you're happy? You're dead. And I said, wait a second. You mean if I kill myself, I'm gonna be dead? And the policeman says, that's right. He said, and if I'm dead, how will I know I'm happy? I'm dead. And the policeman said, that's right. And the guy went, oh man, I can't even kill myself and be happy. Right? True story. Well, who was he trying to kill? Who is who that's trying to kill who? So what I want to give you is a map. This is based on the secrets of Torah, just language that I use. I call this me, myself, and I. So when I talk about me, I'm supposed to write on this, yes? It's not the Iron Kodesh, is it? Right? That would be a problem, right? Me, myself, and I. Who's the self? Who's the me? Who's the I? And when you get this, it's mamish amazing. It'll give you such clarity in so many things. And I could go on and on and on about it, but I'm just going to give you a few thoughts, and there's so much more that you can draw from it. Okay? So the first thing I want you to know is the self is the soul. When we talk about the self in Torah consciousness, that's called neshama, the soul. You are a soul. You don't have a soul. That's confusing. People think I have a body, I have a soul, but who are you? No, you don't have a soul. You are a soul. Just as you don't have a self, but you talk about myself. It's confusing. You don't have a self, you are a self. And so too, soul is talking to souls. Okay, you're a soul. But you as a soul come into this world to play a character that we're going to call me. Right? That's your character. Like an actor comes into the world and plays a character. In other words, I'm not really Rabbi David Aaron. Rabbi David Aaron is a character that I, soul, play in this life. And I'm being very specific, in this life. Okay? I am playing Rabbi David Aaron. Now, I hope to play Rabbi David Aaron in good health till 120. But I want you to know something. Rabbi David Aaron's going to die, right? But I ain't going anywhere, because I'm not Rabbi David Aaron. I'm a soul, and souls don't die. It's like an actor given a part. He's so excited to get that part. And then as he's reading through the script, he sees in scene 8, he's going to die. He freaks out. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I've got so many movies. I goes back to director. I'm sorry, you got the wrong guy. I can't do this part. Well, why not? You're perfect for the part. Well, yeah, but I don't want to die. You're not going to die. You're going to play dead. You're going to get up and get an Oscar and play something else. But that's the point. See, who did this guy want to kill? His character. He was tired of playing a homeless, drunk. We understand that. But he intuited something very profound. He intuited the self that transcends his physical, emotional characteristics, intellectual characteristics. The truth is, everything you can say about yourself is really about your character. The self cannot be described. It's indescribable. Okay? But you are a soul. You come in this world to play a character. In other words, let's be honest. How many of you here can honestly say that you're not the same person today that you were 5 years ago? Say I. You have to say I for this to work, okay? Okay, I. Say it really loud. I. Thank you very much.
Audience participation.
Hey, what happened? Okay. How can you not be the same person you were playing 5 years ago? Because 5 years ago, you might have been playing a different character. You understand that? You know, a couple of weeks ago, I found in my closet a notebook, right? I did not recognize the handwriting. I did not recall any of the content of this notebook. And then I realized this was my notebook. I wrote it 2 days ago. No, just joking, right? Right? I see your handwriting. I didn't sign that check. So, you are a soul. You come in this world to play a character. How about this question? Do you recall, ever wondering as a child, who would I have been if my mother would have married another man? Does anybody ever think that? I thought that. When I was a child, I really wondered if I was really David Aaron. Because I was the only redhead in the family. I asked my mother, why am I the only redhead in the family? Where did red come from? My father had black hair. My mother said that my father had red hair when he was a child. Come on. How did red turn black getting older? Right? It turns pink, not red. It doesn't turn black, that's for sure. Right? And so I thought maybe I'm adopted. Right? Maybe I'm adopted. The only reason I was sure I wasn't adopted is I knew my parents would never spend that kind of money on me. But other than that, the self is the soul. The soul comes into the world to play a character. Now let's get back to the woman in Japan looking for herself. Who's she looking for? What got lost? Well, we're not quite sure, right? And that's very important if you want to figure out your purpose. Are you lost? You don't know your character. You don't know your strengths. You don't know your weaknesses. You don't know what character you're supposed to play. You're an actor in a film and you don't know what character you're playing. That's incredibly frustrating. You can imagine how frustrating that would be, right? And that could be one thing, right? That could be. But there's another kind of lost, and that's getting lost in your character. You start to think that I am Rabbi David Aaron. And my whole self-worth is wrapped up with the image of Rabbi David Aaron. And you get lost in your character. And you start to think your whole self-worth is based on your great looks and all the money that you have and all the fame that you have and all the Facebook friends that you have. By the way, I have, right? All that, right? All that. You can be lost. There was a famous actor that got lost in his character, took his life. Who was that? No, come on, for 10 points. Come on, we'll make it more interesting. It was Heath Ledger. Close. Thought he was the Joker. Right. People get lost in their character. And this is the most important question that we're all asking ourselves. What is the source of genuine, unconditional self-worth? And the answer is, not your character. Right? A lot of people, they'll think it's their character. You know, I have a friend, and sitting in his home, and on his desk was a picture of an old, decrepitated woman. She looked like she's in her 90s. So I said, is this your grandmother? He said, no. I said, is this your great aunt? He said, no. I said, well, who is this woman? Why is she on your desk? He said, I actually don't know her personally. Well, then who is she? She was Miss America 1910. I said, you know, I could maybe understand a man having a picture of Miss America taken in 1910. Why do you have a picture of Miss America when she don't look so good and she's like 90 years old? He said, it humbles me and reminds me she must have thought she was really something in 1910, right? You see, that's, you know, Rabbi Nachman says, Asur listaken, it's forbidden to become old. People who are lost in their bodies, lost in their character, they get old. That's like a person looking at their car and thinking just because their car is 50 years old, they're old. Neshamas never get old. Souls are not old. They don't get old. But the more you identify with your character, the more you get lost in your character, the more you think you are your character, then the older you get, right? And the weaker you get. So this is absolutely, absolutely critical. To learn to live as a soul Now, we're not going to deny the character, and we're soon going to get back to the importance of the character. But don't get lost in your character. I met this multi-millionaire, right? And I had a meeting with him. I was hoping he'd maybe make a donation to my organization. 20-minute meeting. This guy has a private jet, a limo. He flies all over the world. He meets with the most important people in the world. After my meeting, he was meeting with the Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin. And this is after he was dead. I'm just joking, okay? So he meets with Yitzhak Rabin after meeting with me. Chutzpah. Didn't you know he just met me, you know? Anyways, so as we're walking, something's wrong with my character. It's not connected. Okay, so I'm walking with this guy. I don't know him, my first time meeting him. I turned to him and I said, hey, Mr. So-and-so, what an amazing life you live. What's it like? The guy stops, looks me in the eyes, and says, Rabbi, I'm lonely. And I couldn't believe he shared that with me. And I didn't understand it because he's never alone. And I said, you're lonely? He said, Rabbi, I know that if I were to lose all my money tomorrow, nobody would give me the time of day. See, that's a man who's lost in his character. And a lot of other people got lost in his character with him. And he's confused his net worth with his self-worth. Do you know people like that? That have lost their self-worth in their net worth? So this is a mistake. We all want to know what's the source of self-worth. And we sadly enough make the mistake to think it's our looks, our status, our bodies, our fame, our property, our clothing, whatever it is, right? But that's not you. That's your character, that's your car. You need your car, you respect your car. Keep your car well, right? But don't let the car drive you. You as a neshama drive your character. But to where? So now, to get to understanding to where, I want to talk about the I. Who's the I? Now the I is a big shock for some people. The I is Hashem. The reason why that's a shock to people is because most people think that Hashem is God, some guy in the sky, somewhere over there, telling us what to do. The first Russian astronaut, when he was in outer space, was asked, what do you see? And he said, I don't see God. What did he think he'd see? He's driving in a spaceship. Suddenly, two eyes peer at him from outer space, hand waving, hello, I am God. What took you so long? Right? You see, the reason why you can't see God is not because Hashem is so far. What's going on? Not because Hashem is so far. I'll keep the soul connection to it. Right? Not because Hashem is so far. Because Hashem is so close. He's closer than behind your eyeballs. Because according to Torah, Hashem is the self. At Sinai, the first words we heard was Anochi Hashem Elokecha, which means I am all there ever was, is, and ever will be. I am the source of all your power. I am yourself. Now that doesn't mean that you are God. Don't get me wrong, because I am God. So I don't want that to be clear, you know. You're not God, I'm not God. But if Hashem were the sun, metaphorically, then we would be rays of his light. We would be rays of his light. You are a ray of Hashem. That's a neshama. A soul is a chelek eloka mim'al. A soul is a facet, a part of Hashem. The Baal HaTanya says the soul is literally, actually, a chelek eloka, a part of Hashem. All right? See, I have people who have said to me, students that have said to me, you know, Rabbi, this is my life, and I can do with it as I please. Let's just check out how much this life is your life. So if you don't mind, we'll just do a quick, just a quick experiment, if you don't mind, for just 2 minutes, if you don't mind. We're going to have everybody turn their hearts off. I'll let you know in 2 minutes. I'm going to take out my smartphone. Okay, everybody ready? We're going to turn our hearts off, and then I'll let you know when you could turn them back on. Okay? You can't turn your heart off and on at will. But if you can't turn your heart off and on at will, that means you're not beating your heart. And if you're not beating your heart, then who is? Whoever that is, I suggest we stay in good contact. Okay? The great whoever. Okay, what about my thinking? Let's stop thinking. You can't stop thinking. What you think is your choice. That you think, and that you have no choice. You're always thinking. But where is thought coming from? Are you the source of thought? Right this very second, there are 17 muscles in my face that have to work in perfect coordination for every syllable to come out of my mouth. Now, I don't even know where there's place in my face for 17 muscles. But you know what? I don't even know how to talk. Yeah, that's what I do for a living. I talk all day long, except when I get home, I don't talk to my wife, right? But I talk all day long. I don't know how to talk. I don't even know how to do this. You see how I do that? I don't know how to do that. Do you realize that all the powers within you are not from you? That's the meaning of the name Elohim. Our sages tell us that Elohim means Baal Kochot Kulam, the master, the owner of all powers. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, I am all there ever was, is, and ever will be. Ein od milvadi, there is nothing but me. Elohecha, I am the master and the owner of all your powers. I am your inner, higher, greater self that you share with the universe. That's a big shift for most people, but an absolutely important shift to get. That this very second, you are connected to Hashem. And there's absolutely nothing you can do to stop that connection. What you can do is deny that connection. Delude yourself that there isn't a connection. But when you realize that if you want to feel Hashem, just take your pulse. Because that's Hashem saying, I'm with you, I believe in you, I'm going to work through you, I'm going to give you life right now. So the important thing to understand that every move you make and every breath you take, he's not just watching you. Okay, that's from the Stinger Rebbe. Okay? And the Stinger Rebbe says, right, that every breath you take, right, every move you make, right, every move, you can't even move your finger without it being Gezerah Min Shamayim. So this very second, my little self is rooted in and flowing from the one great self, the great Anochi. And now the question is, so what is the source of self-worth? And what is our purpose on earth? And now we go back to the character. The source of self-worth, unconditional self-worth, is called Avodat Hashem, serving Hashem. Now the confusion is because people think Hashem is some particular individual being, super being over there, imposing his will on a bunch of us over here, so that sounds like slavery. But when I understand that I am to God like a ray of light is to the sun, then just as the ray serves the sun and as a vehicle, a merchava, a vehicle through which the warmth, the brilliance, and the energy and the life force of the sun becomes manifest in the world, so too, you are a soul. And the great self, the one self, Hashem, wants to come in this world through you. And that's where the character comes in, right? The character is not the source of self-worth. It is the vehicle for you to do your avodat Hashem, your service. But your self-worth is rooted in serving to bring, in the unique way that you can, one self, one soul, one God consciousness. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. That's what Torah life is about. It's to increase one's self-consciousness, one's soul consciousness. The Zohar refers to Hashem as Nishmat and Nishamot, the soul of our souls. Right? There are souls, and then there's the soul of our souls. Think of it like electricity. In this room, there are lights. There's an air conditioner. There might be a hot pot for tea and coffee. So they're all connected to the same self, electricity, right? Notice L is an electricity, right? So electricity. And then as electricity flows through the air conditioning, the power of cooling is manifest. That's the soul of the air conditioner. But when electricity flows through the light bulbs, the power of lighting becomes manifest. That's the soul of the light bulb. And when the electricity flows through the hot pot, right, the kettle, then the power of heating becomes manifest. That's the soul of the kettle. But there's the soul of the souls, and that's electricity. We are connected this very second, all of us, to one self, one soul, one God. Each and every one of us is a part of, a facet of, one of the powers of the one God. And so, if the character was air conditioner, the soul would be the power of cooling. Hashem would be electricity. And our goal is to let the presence of Hashem flow into the world in the unique way that you have been given to do. And now comes the purpose part. So look at the character you've been given. You've been given characteristics, right? I was given the capacity to speak in public. I did nothing for this. I didn't take any lessons. I never really practiced it. I was never given any guidance in it. I gave a talk at a conference. A fellow comes up to me. He said, "Where did you study public speaking?" I said, "I never studied public speaking." He said, "Do you know that a public speaker has to hit 10 points? You are hitting all 10 of them." I said, "I don't know what they are." He said, "Well, how do you do this?" I said, "I don't know how I do it. I just do it." It's just a gift. It's just a gift. They say that the #1 fear in the United States is public speaking. The #2 fear in the United States is death. That means if you've been asked to give a eulogy, you'd rather be in the box than give the eulogy. That's from Seinfeld. I must quote my Jewish sources. Okay? I don't have a problem with public speaking. I'm not haughty about that. Because for me to be haughty about my ability to speak in public would be as stupid as me being haughty over my ability to scratch my ear. Did you see that? Yeah, I worked at that. It took me a while, but I got it. But then I got to this. Whoa, a whole other thing. I'm really good at this one. Like, of course you can scratch your ear. You've been given the gift of scratching your ear. Every single person in this room has been given a constellation of talents. Right? But then there's something else you've been given, which is just as important as your talents. It's your problems, right? It's your problems, right? It's like we're at a construction site, right? I heard this very nice metaphor from Rabbi Tatz. I'm just going to add a little bit to it. And imagine you're at this construction site and you don't know what you're doing here. But they give you a bag. You open up your bag, and in your bag there's a saw, hammer, nails. You got it. You're a carpenter. Next to you, the person opened up their bag, and in there's wires and testers and fuses, and you go, "Oh, I get it. I'm an electrician." Right? But I would like to add to that metaphor that at the bottom of your bag, there's something broken. And that is as important as all the talents you've been given. Something is broken. You've been given something broken. And that makes you a compassionate person who has the capacity of being empathetic to other people that have that brokenness. You know? But look at what Hashem has given you in your character. Right? It says in the Gemara, the Talmud, that a person is born at the time of Mars will have a bloodthirsty character. They just will. Okay? Now the question is, what's your choice? Well, you got lots of choices, right? You could be a surgeon and enjoy the blood and save lives, or you could be a serial murderer and take lives. But there's nothing wrong with being bloodthirsty. I have a glass every morning, right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's what do you do with it? What do you do with it? There's nothing wrong with anybody in this room there's nothing wrong with anybody in this room. That's the amazing thing. We think there's something wrong with us. There's nothing wrong with us. It's just what we're doing with it. That's the mistake. They say a story about a fellow that went to a great, great master, and he asked him, "What is the secret to life?" And the master said, "Wood, wires, and nails. Go contemplate." So he contemplated, but he couldn't figure it out. Wood, wires, and nails. I don't know what he's talking about. Well, years later, he forgot the meeting. And then he hears from from his porch, he hears this beautiful guitar music. So he follows his ears, and there in the park down the street, there's a guy playing a beautiful guitar. And he sits there and just enjoys the music, and suddenly he hears wood, wires, and nails. He realizes secret life. You see, with wood, wires, and nails, you could create a weapon. With wood, wires, and nails, you could create a musical instrument. There's nothing wrong with wood, wires, or nails. And there's nothing wrong with anybody in this room, right? It's what are you doing with it, right? What are you doing with it? So many, many years ago, my wife was very involved with astrology. Now, there's different halachic opinions of astrology. All halachic opinions say you cannot use astrology for horoscopes and telling the future. There are some halachic opinions that say you can use astrology to understand your character trait. My wife actually doesn't do it anymore, but she was really very good at it. And she actually showed me in astrology books something called astrological twins. These are two people born at the same time, same place, not related at all. They look like identical twins. It's really shocking stuff. My wife was very, very challenged by this. And so she went to her teacher and said, well, where's free choice? And the teacher says, what's your problem? Astrology says nothing about your soul. It's talking about your character. You can have two children, they've both been given the same 5 colored crayons, right? Each one's going to do something different, right? All music, the infinite numbers of songs are all made by a finite number of notes. And there's a new song and a new song, and it's just amazing. You've come to write the song, but who are you serving? And that's what you got to ask yourself. How are you taking your character traits and using them to serve to bring greater oneself, one soul, one God consciousness to the world? Because that's what it's about, right? Because if we could bring one soul, one self, one God consciousness to the world, then the world would be a loving place and a peaceful place. And people would mutually respect each other and be there for each other. But sadly enough, we don't really believe we're connected. We don't really believe that in the deepest depths we all share one self, right? And when you're in that state of service, it is the most incredible joy. It's so egoless. Because if you've experienced that, I've experienced that many times. Rabbi, I know it's not me speaking anymore. It's not David Aaron. This is not David Aaron speaking. David Aaron doesn't know how to speak. All I want to be is a channel. All I want to be is in service. All I want to be is in some way, if through the gift of gab and my crazy jokes, I could be a vehicle to bring a little bit more one self, one soul, one God consciousness, then I'm living a little bit more of my purpose, right? So that's what you got to ask yourself, right? Maybe not yourself, maybe somebody else that knows you, because sadly enough, I ask people, my students, give me 3 strengths. It's amazing how people can come up with 3 strengths, right? And I say, okay, give me 3 weaknesses. Oh, I got a lot more than that. You know, they can just download all these weaknesses. It's so easy to say all these bad things about ourselves, but just say good things. We even feel uncomfortable. It's not nice to say good things about myself. Humility in Jewish tradition isn't putting yourself down and pretending you're not good at something. That's just lying. If you're good at something, then say Baruch Hashem. Hashem is the source. I've been given this gift. I have to use this gift. If you're great at writing, you're great at writing. If you're great at marketing, you're great at marketing. If you write music, if you teach, if you're a doctor, whatever it is, just thank Hashem, Baruch Hashem. What are you doing with it? But you also have to say to Hashem, thank you for my problems. Rav Kook says that the bracha we say every morning, Shasali kol tzarki, Hashem, you have made for me everything I need. Rav Kook says that includes your problems. You gave me the right problems also. I needed them in order to be able to be the kind of character that I could be, to serve, to bring, in the unique way that I could bring into the world, a little bit more of the one soul, one self, one Hashem consciousness. So this is what it's about, living on purpose. What is your purpose? It starts with, who are you? You are a soul. Who is a soul? The soul is a ray of Hashem. What am I doing here? What is a ray of Hashem doing on this planet? I've been given a character. And with this character, I have problems, I have challenges, I have strengths, I have weaknesses. And now, choose life. Choose love. Choose to do something that will bring more of that sense of connectivity to all of us. The entire Torah is unfolding from Ahavta l'recha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. You know, I know a lot of people, I would prefer them not to love me the way they love themselves. You know, maybe do a little bit better than that, right? But most people don't know the end of the pasuk. Love your neighbor as yourself. Ki ani Hashem. Because I am Hashem, which means I am all there ever was, is, and ever will be. Ein od milvado, efes zulato. There is nothing but one I am. There is only one I am. And your I am and my I am is one of the colors in the spectrum of the white light of one I am. And your character that you've been given is perfect. If you know how to arrange it, know how to use it, and don't get lost in it, but find yourself and help everybody else find ourself through it. So that's living on purpose. That's the secret to unconditional self-worth. Serve. Find your service. Live your service. And the service is, in what way can you add a little bit more, bring a little bit more of love, of Ahavta l'recha kamocha, a little bit more of the clarity of Ani Hashem. Ein od milvado. There is only one I am. And we are one. And we will always be one. And we have to just stop thinking and talking and acting in ways that confuse ourselves to think that there's anything but just one. So thank you so much. Comments? Yeah. Good to see you.
Hi, the air conditioner and the hot pot, aren't those the characters?
Yes, the air conditioner is the character. The power of cooling is the soul. And the electricity is Hashem in the metaphor. Yeah, what's your name? Soul, what's your stage name? Yes, Sarah. It's a good stage name. Yes.
The thing that I thought was missing, and is a bit, not missing, but I'm not Freudian in that respect, but I think the ego encompasses so much of our self that it gets in the way of many of those things that we talked about.
Right.
It's so powerful that we define ourselves by all these bad, ego-centric type of behaviors.
Exactly. So I'm glad you brought that up. Ego stands for editing God out. Okay? That's EGO, editing God out. Because ego is when a person gets trapped in their character and starts to think, I am Rabbi David Aaron. And David Aaron is who I am. And all I have to do is I got to take care of David Aaron. And I got to make sure everybody knows who David Aaron is. Because it's all about David Aaron. It's all about me, 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 me. It's not about me, me, me. It's about our self. Not myself, not yourself, not the collection of ourselves, but the one self, right? The one self that we're all flowing from, right? So yes, that's the problem. Ego convinces us that I'm self-contained, self-sufficient, independent. These are my powers. This is my strength, right? Kochi ve'otzim yati. It's my power, it's my strength that has given me this ability to succeed. As soon as you surrender, as soon as you genuinely know, these are not my powers, more power to you, right? The first step to empowerment is surrender, right? But as long as I think this is my ability to speak, and this is mine, yesh, that's the concept of bittul yesh. You nullify that sense that this is mine, right? It's all mine. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. What else would you like to ask or comment? Yeah. Soul, tell everybody your stage name.
Asher.
Yes.
So, how do you...
That's a famous stage name, you know that. Yeah, okay. You should be a rock star. Okay.
How do you distinguish between the gifts you're given to do what you do best, speaking in public and being a rabbi, versus improving on the character traits that you're not so good at, that you think you'd like to, meaning, where does that come in? The personal development area where you're weak, and maybe it's just a waste of time, maybe just focus on what you're good at.
No. No. You have, okay, the question is, well, what about the areas in your life that you should work on and improve on? Maybe you should just do what you're good at. No, that's why you have a Yetzer Hara. Your Yetzer Hara actually points the most to your purpose. Because your purpose is to choose something. To do when it comes natural is good, but it's only part. What you really need to focus on is what you're not so good at. But what does it mean not so good at? Right? Maybe a person doesn't have such a great sense of humor. There's no halacha, there's no mitzvah, thou shalt be funny. Right? So if you're not funny, you're not funny. So you feel like being funny, fine, but you probably won't be funny. It's not what you came to this world to do. Right? But very much what you've come to this world to do is very much your Yetzer Hara will tell you what to do. We don't understand people's Yetzer Hara. Some people, they have a Yetzer Hara for fame, and some people have a Yetzer Hara for money, and that's what you have to work on. Because that's when you really choose to show that we are all part of oneself. It's precisely where you're challenged in your ability to recognize that we're all part of oneself. I mean, what does unconditional love need in order to succeed? Conditions against your love, right? If all the conditions were in favor of your love, when would you have a chance to demonstrate and exercise unconditional love? Like one night I was sitting with my wife, and I turned to my wife, I said, Sarah, why do you love me? She says, my name's Hannah. I said, okay. I'm confused with my other wife. Okay, but why do you love me? She said, why do you assume that? I said, okay, enough of the jokes. Why do you love me? She said, I have no reason to love you. What? You have no reason to love me? What are you talking about? How could you say that? Can't you find one reason to love me? She says, not only do I have no reason to love you, you wouldn't even want me to have a reason to love you. I said, no, I really would. I really would like you to have... No. She said, because if I had a reason to love you, then it would be the reason I love, and not you. And if that reason at any point were no longer relevant, I wouldn't love you anymore, would I? Right? I love you even when you give me good reasons not to. I give her a lot of good reasons not to. Right? But that's real love. That's real love. So that's your Yetzer Hara. It's like to really bring one soul, one self-conscious, to really bring love into the world, Then you have to understand it's precisely where love is challenged, is where love becomes manifest in its most powerful way. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think when they're having problems in their marriage, that's a problem with their marriage. I don't think a marriage that doesn't have problems is such a deep marriage, right? Two people that are really close, the closer you get to somebody, the more you step on their toes, because you're close. But the problems is the opportunity to get even deeper and feel more connected and transcend that, to get to a much more profound sense of connectivity. So the problems are really important, and working on your character traits are very important, right? But don't try and get a character you don't have, right? If you don't need it, right? But if you have a mitzvah of hachnasas working, well then you need to work on being hospitable, because you have a mitzvah. And so the mitzvahs are telling us what we need to work on, but there's lots of things that people are working on. There's no mitzvah to do that. So work on something that you need to work on, not you just feel like working on. Any more questions? Yeah, so tell everybody your stage name.
Avi, if I may kind of paraphrase what you said in terms of things that have been said that probably you're referring to also. Sometimes people think like, oh, why was I given this life? Why do I have this flaw? Why are these things? Why do I have this burden? But really what's actually happening is there's only God, there's only Hashem. Hashem wants to, so to speak, fix. There's things that need fixing. So God creates the physical universe and radiates out souls, so to speak. And the souls choose, so to speak, something that needs fixing. And they say, okay, I volunteer. I'm going to go into the physical universe in the guise of a human being, and I'm going to fix this thing. When you're caught, as you say, in your character, then you think, oh, I have this problem. It's not fair. That's not it at all. You volunteer to fix this problem of the universe that God has, so to speak, needs fixing, and you are volunteering to fix it. The second part is that people sometimes think, you know, my goal, my purpose here in the universe is to become a teacher so that I will teach such and such, or I'm going to be a carpenter, or I'm going to build homes for people, which is true to some degree. But the bottom line, when the person is wise, they realize that the things that need fixing are inside themselves, so to speak. And somehow, that which they are doing in the outside world, whether it's a musician or a carpenter or a speaker, whatever it is part of the mechanism, it's part of what they have to do, but the main task in the end is fixing things inside themselves. And so it's a combination of those two things. A person feels, why am I so broken? Why do I have all these flaws? Why do I have all... The answer is because there were these flaws in the universe that are not just music needed to be created or a building needed to be built. There were flaws that translated in this universe turn out to be psychological flaws. Those were the cosmic flaws that God created the universe to fix. And the soul that kind of your character took on this personality in order to be able to fix this broken essence that manifests in this physical world as a personality flaw of the character that your soul has.
All right, well, that was a lot there, and some of it could be misunderstood by a lot of people. So I don't want to go there right now, that God has something that he needs fixed. What would that mean, that God would need something fixed? Although what I do want to qualify is the Leshem explains that al pi Kabbalah, according to Kabbalah, before you came to this world, you were shown the script. You were shown all the episodes. And you were asked, do you want to play this character? And you said, yes, I want to. And then you were born and then just complained. Well, how come, why do I have parents like this? Why do I have this problem, that problem? So imagine you're an actor and you're really excited about it. I remember, one of my students was an actor by the name of Kirk Douglas. Just turned 100 a little while ago. And he told me that he was always getting these parts as a bad guy, or a criminal, or a tough guy. And he wanted, as an actor, to play any part. He heard that Vincent van Gogh, the Lust for Life movie, was looking for Vincent van Gogh. And he said, I want to play that part. It was so out of character for him, a struggling, sensitive artist. And so he got the job, right? He got the job. And he was so excited about that. And then his good friend John Wayne called him up. Kirk told me the story and said, Kirk, is this true? You took a sissy part like Vincent van Gogh? What's a cowboy like you doing, taking a sissy part like that? And Kirk said to John Wayne, he said, John, we're not cowboys. We're actors, John. And he said that John wasn't such a great actor because he became a cowboy and could only play a cowboy. But imagine that Kirk gets, well, don't have to imagine, Kirk gets Vincent van Gogh. And then he forgets that he's Kirk Douglas. And then he gets lost in Vincent van Gogh. And he's so angry. Why is my life so difficult? Why am I this poor artist? And why am I cutting my ear off? Why am I going through all this? And then somebody says, hey, Kirk, you wanted to play this role. You knew you could do such a great job at this role. And so that's the Leshem says that we actually said yes. And I wanted to play that role. But now I have to ask myself, okay, so how do I serve with this role to bring my soul and the soul of souls into the world? Right. Yeah, Soul, what's your stage name?
P. Yiddy. That's actually my stage name, but I go by Zeb.
Okay.
It's a rap joke.
Okay, I got it, yeah.
Okay, so you were talking about this process of connectivity, connection to Hashem, and it sounds like the goal is this flow that psychologists often talk about, where your ego and your sense, any kind of sort of inhibiting external, extrinsic, conscious, analytical self sort of drops away, and who you really are can shine through like the ray of light, or flow through that makes you like a tzinor, right, for all of this godly light and shefa, etc. And so that's how you connect to the world, and you're basically, there's nothing left of you but this connection. You are the connection, right? So that, it seems like really the goal, or at least the requisite to that goal would be self-nullification, and that it's part of the result, but it's also, I think, part of what you need to do in order to get there is that you need to somehow figure out a way to get rid of that part of you that gives you all the negative or incorrect, distorted messages. So obviously, a part of that is focusing on the positive, that which you do need to do, but there also needs to be, like Joan pointed out, there needs to be some way to get rid of all of that, all of the dross, all of the what do you call it?
I don't completely agree with Flo about getting rid of the analytical mind, because there are people sitting in yeshiva all day long doing analytical things. But I don't want to go there right now, but I also don't want to give a whole other class additional to this, but maybe we should, because the question is, it's really about the choice. And that part is the biggest part of the story, but we don't have enough time to go into it. But we are here to choose love, not to just love, to choose love. Our Yetzer Hara, our self-sabotaging, energy, whatever words we use, our Yetzer Hara, is our greatest asset in so many ways. Because without it, we couldn't choose to love. And if you don't choose to love, then love is very natural, but it's not this unconditional love. It's to choose to love when you don't feel like loving. It's to choose goodness when you don't feel like being good. It's to choose to be kind when you really don't feel like it. But that's the most powerful affirmation that we're one. Because even when I don't feel like being at one with you, I'm going to choose to be at one with you, and then I reveal something very profound. So the choice here, the ubacharta b'chayim, choosing life, Jewish life is about making choices, right? And our Yetzer Hara put those choices in our face, and that's what we have to work on, is to make those choices. So that's a piece that I think is really super, super key to all this, is that to serve Hashem is ultimately a choice that you have to make. It's actually a Gemara in the Yerushalmi that says that as soon as you get a mitzvah, you get a Yetzer Hara that comes with it to tell you not to do it. It sounds ridiculous. Like, you give me a mitzvah and then you give me a Yetzer Hara not to do it. But the answer is, the goal is to do it from a place of choice, not just naturally, but to choose to, even when you don't feel like it. And that's love. The deepest level of love is to show love to people you don't feel like loving, but you choose to do it anyways. Yeah, Sol, tell everybody your stage name.
Anders. I have a question about names, actually. Is the Hebrew name the name of the soul self, or is the Hebrew name the name of the me self?
Me.
It's just the me.
Yes. The question is, who were you before you were Anders? The I am before you say I am Anders. That I am is neshama. And then neshama says I am Anders. I am a healer. I am, and you just, but those are more and more layers of the envelope or the garb that you're wearing, right? But the I am before I say I am David Aaron, right? That's going to your neshama.
Is there something about, when they say doing tshuva, the Rambam talks about changing your name, like actually.
Yeah, because you got lost in this character.
Right, like
And you're allowing this character so by taking a different name, you can kind of step away a little bit. You see, the problem is that as a neshama, you have to step away from your character to take and give direction to your character. For instance, it's not a good thing to say, I'm angry. Because then you become anger. If you're angry, then how are you ever going to not be angry? It is healthier to speak a soul language and say, I feel angry. And therefore, there's a little bit of a distance there, right? Or to say, I'm depressed. Don't say, I'm depressed, because then you become depression. Say, I feel depressed. Okay, there's I, and I'm looking at that feeling, right? And, and you could give the depression a name. Depressed, whatever, David, whatever name you give it, but try to get a little bit outside of it so that it doesn't control you. Or never say, I'm wrong, because you are not wrong. souls are okay. You can say, I was wrong in my thinking. But the reason why, and that's why I think Gemara is such an incredible soul therapy, because people are actually sitting there arguing, you know? And one says it means this, and the other one says it means that. And now your ego starts saying, uh-oh, I think I might be wrong. You're never wrong. It was just a wrong thought. So let go of it. Don't become stuck in your thought. You're not your thought. You're a neshama that had that thought. You let go of that thought. That's why it's incredibly humbling when you're learning text with somebody and they have a commentary on it, you have a different interpretation, and you argue it, and you start holding on for dear life to your interpretation when you start to see that you're actually wrong. And you're afraid that you're going to end up realizing you're wrong. But you can't be wrong. Neshamas are not wrong, right? It was just a wrong way to think. And now you should be happy that you have a better way to think. Arnold Schwarzenegger once said something very profound. Like, only once. No, I'm sure he said more profound things than that. He said, why did I become Mr. Universe 5 times? He said, the other weight trainers were afraid to be critiqued. I was afraid not to be critiqued. Because I knew that if they could show me what I'm doing wrong, I could do it better. But that's the difference. They were afraid that someone's going to say they're wrong. And he was, I'm not wrong. I'm just doing it wrong, right? Just tell me a different way to do it, and I'll do it. Don't get stuck. A lot of people are stuck. That's why you got to learn to speak a language of neshama, right? And take a little step away from the character. Just get a little break, you know, from the character. Anyways, I want to thank you very much. Just a very, okay, one second, I'm just going to do a quick commercial. I'm not my commercial. Right. But anyways, if you're interested in hearing more of this kind of stuff, then I have a website called rabbidavidaaron.com. How egotistical. Right, rabbidavidaaron.com. And I've got lots of material up there, as well as I'm very active on Facebook. And if you want, we could put a piece of paper back there. If you're interested in getting my regular emails, then every week I put out, I'm now doing, produce animations, short animations that illustrate these ideas. I do podcasts. I have a radio show called Soul Talk on Israel News Talk Radio. And I put out articles. I've written 8 books. I brought one book, which is called Soul Powered Prayers, which is about finding meaning in the Shemona Esrei and the 18 benedictions. And so if you're interested in that, it's back there, called Soul Powered Prayers. I have other books, but I didn't want to schlep them. So my character wasn't interested in schlepping them in heat. But my soul said you should do it, but my character said no. So anyways, so if you're interested, you can go to bookstores and find them there. And if you have any more questions, then I'm going to be staying here because my wife said I can't come home tonight because she has no reasons to hate me, but she has no reasons to let me back in. No, I'm just joking. So again, thank you so much, and Yiboneh Archives, and thank you so much. You should continue to grow and flow and celebrate your lives. Shalom, shalom.